We're going to be starting off today with this guide as what race should you do. So, number 1, Pandaren. They have a fantastic racial where it doubles all well-fed buffs. So generally, in Mists of Pandaria Classic, if you can be a Pandaren, be a Pandaren. That means that if your food buff gives you 300 intellect, Pandaren will actually get 600 intellect. It also means as you get further through the expansion, they will also get even better. If you don't want to go Pandaren, however, no worries. Trolls for the Horde are really, really good options. They have Berserking, which is basically a haste increase on cooldown, and they also deal more damage to beasts, but that's not as exciting. For the Alliance, you're going to want to go Draenei, if you're not going Pandaren, that is. They do get a global cooldown-free emergency heal called Gift of the Naru, and if you are going Elemental or Enhancement at some point, then they also do get an easier time hitting their spell hit cap due to their heroic presence, which gives them an extra 1% hit chance as well. But, like I said, for both Horde and Alliance, you are generally going to want to go for Pandaren for the double well-fed bonus. The talents also have a massive overhaul in Mists of Pandaria Classic. So, for all 3 specs, Elemental, Enhancement and Restoration, we get the same talents here. On the first line, I would recommend you go with Astral Shift. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown, reducing damage by 40% for 6 seconds, so a really great defensive. If you don't want that option, but you want something to help you when you do get to low health, Nature's Guardian can be a really good option. Whenever a damaging attack brings you below 30% health, your maximum health is massively increased for 10 seconds, and your threat level is reduced. Now, I don't think it's as good as Astral Shift, which we can use whenever the hell we like. If you don't like that, you can go with Stone Bulwark, however, on a minute cooldown that is an Earth Totem with 10% of your health, and basically it's going to make an Absorb Shield for 10 seconds, and then some amounts thereafter every 5 seconds. On the second line, I like to go with Windwalk Totem, but generally we can go with Earth Grab as well if needed. So Windwalk Totem, it's an air totem, and it's going to be at the feet of the caster, so you. And basically, any raid members within 40 yards are going to be have immunity to movement impairing effects. Whereas Earth Grab is going to pulse every 5 seconds, causing roots to ensnare the legs of your enemies. So Windwalk is basically for your allies, getting rid of any movement impairment, whereas Earth Grab is actually for your enemies, rooting and slowing them. Now, we can change these talents out whenever we want with Tome of the Clear Mind. That is something really cool that we can do in MoP Classic, meaning that the talents are a lot more interchangeable now. For your Tier 3, I like to go with Call of the Elements. When you activate it, it immediately finishes the cooldown on any totems that have a base cooldown shorter than 3 minutes. So, what are these going to work on? Grounding Totem, Earthbind Totem, Earth Grab, Healing Stream, Capacitor, Stone Bulwark, Tremor, and Windwalk Totem are some of the ones that you're going to be using a lot of that have under 3 minute cooldowns. On the fourth line, we could go with Echo of the Elements or Elemental Mastery. Elemental Mastery gives you 30% haste every 1.5 minutes, and it lasts 20 seconds. So a really good burst phase of DPS or healing, depending on what you need at the time, whenever you want. Echo of the Elements, however, when one of your spells causes direct damage or healing, you have a chance to gain Echo of the Elements, duplicating that spell's effect. So that one is going to be happening passively, meaning you're going to be doing more damage and healing throughout the encounter, whereas Elemental Mastery gives you a lot more burst. If it is a fight where you need a massive burst period, then go with Elemental Mastery. Otherwise, Echo of the Elements, I personally would go with for the extra passive healing and DPS. On the second to last line, again, all 3 are viable. Rushing Streams, your Healing Stream Totem now heals 2 targets at once for an additional healing. Ancestral Guidance, another cooldown that we can get. When you deal direct damage or healing for the next 10 seconds, 40% of your damage or 60% of your healing is copied as healing to up to 3 nearby injured party or raid members. So if you're DPSing, it's a great way that you can help out the other healers in the fight, or if you're healing, then it's a great way that you can do extra healing. So in big healing intensive phases, if you're doing either 3 specs, this is going to really help out. Lastly, we have Conductivity. When you cast Healing Wave, etc., your healing range duration is increased. When you also cast DPS spells, your healing range duration is increased. This can be used in fights where basically the enemies and your group are stacked up at the same location, which seems to happen a lot in 5-man dungeons, and obviously some raid environments. You can put down Healing Rain and then spam Chain Lightning if you're DPSing in order to get extra healing out for the raid, even when you are DPSing or when healing. This is going to obviously be something you're using on cooldown anyway, and therefore we can get a longer Healing Rain. Again, on the last one, all three are viable. However, I do believe that in Elemental Blast, at least to my tests, is performing better. On a 12-second cooldown, we're going to hurl this towards our target and doing a massive amount of damage, but also increasing our critical strike, haste or mastery by 3,500 for 8 seconds. So we can use this on cooldown to pretty much get one of our secondary stats up by a massive amount by quite a lot. So it's up for 8 seconds and it's a 12-second cooldown, meaning we can get a lot of uptime on this. If you don't want to use that, however, we can go for Unleashed Fury, where basically it empowers some of your elemental effects on your weapons when triggered with Unleash Elements. Finally, for the glyphs, as elemental, we do have a few good options, I must say. Number 1, Glyph of Flame Shock. When your Flame Shock deals damage, it heals you for some of the damage dealt. That's a win-win in my eyes. Another one is Chain Lightning. Your Chain Lightning now strikes 2 additional targets, but deals 10% less damage. Now, if you have like 4 or 5 plus targets, this is going to really work. Obviously, if you don't, then don't use this glyph. The same with Glyph of Thunder. It reduces the cooldown on Thunderstorm by 10 seconds, which is really good in AoE situations. But what if you're not in an AoE situation? Well, you could go with Glyph of Elemental Totem, reducing the cooldown, but also the duration of your fire elemental. And you may be wondering, well, doesn't that impact, obviously, my burst period? Well, yes, it does. But it means that you may have a better chance at lining up the burst windows with the totem when you want to use it versus having that longer cooldown and having less burst windows. So it gives you a bit more flexibility, basically. There's Telluric Currents, causing your lightning bolt to restore some of your mana when it strikes an enemy. If you are having mana issues, you could go with this one instead as well. Or even something like Ghost Wolf, where when in ghost form, you are actually less hindered by effects that would reduce your movement speed. Obviously, if there's a combat effects that are going to do that, this could be helpful as well. For your minor glyphs, we don't really have much useful. I'm going with Glyph of the Lake Strider, where you automatically gain water walking when in ghost form as well, so it can help with movement. Another one with your Thunderstorm, removing the knockback effect from it, meaning if you want to keep all the adds in one place and AoE them down, this is going to be better for you. And Astral Recall, just reducing the cooldown of Astral Recall by 5 minutes, which isn't really going to help in combat, but can, help reducing that cooldown, really. For Mr. Pandaria Classic, I'm teaming up with Zygor to give you 20% off with code Javier. Zygor gives you the fastest and most efficient leveling experience. As you can see here, looking at killing snow leopards, I can even click all the different waypoint coordinates to see the fastest way to get to the different areas they may be in. It can also look at flight paths and show me which ways to go, including all of the different travel options. And when choosing quest rewards, it can even tell me which is the best upgrade for me. And this will be even spec dependent. I can click on the gloves, complete the quest, and then it will even tell me to equip them and shows me how much attributes and stats I will gain by equipping these items. Maybe even talents. I can use the talent advisor with Zygor, simply clicking that I want to be an Affliction Warlock, and it's going to configure it automatically to show me the best leveling build for Affliction for me. The fun doesn't stop there, though, because it's available for SOD, Classic, Retail, Leveling. I can choose zones I want to go into, and it'll tell me how to get there and do all of the leveling in that zone, even if you're going back to old zones that you've leveled out of. Dungeons, dailies, events, reputation, gold making, professions, pets and mounts, and achievements. You can use as little or as much as you like. And don't forget, you can get 20% off with code Javier and battle past everyone at lightning speed in Mr. Pandaria Classic. And now on to the most exciting part, which is, of course, the rotation. So you don't get confused here. On the left, I have the single target rotation, changes that we're making to do an AoE rotation, and then some cooldowns that I want to talk to you about as well. So number one, we're going to be starting off with single target, of course. I'm just going to get out of the way because that's annoying. We're going to be using Elemental Blast, assuming you have taken it in the talents, as your top priority. So remember, when we use this, what it's actually going to do is give us this buff here, increasing our mastery or haste, etc. for 8 seconds. So always use that on cooldown. Second, use Flame Shock and keep this up on your target at all times. Third, use Lava Burst on cooldown. Perfect timing. You're also sometimes going to get this proc, Lava Surge, where your next Lava Burst is instant. Because the priority is to use Lava Burst on cooldown anyway, whenever it procs, you will be using it. Lava Surge is passive here. Your Flame Shock periodic damage has a chance to cause Lava Burst, making your next Lava Burst instant. So whenever you use your Flame Shock, the periodic damage that's ticking away on your target has a chance to cause a proc on a Lava Burst for an instant one. And we're using Lava Burst whenever we can use it on cooldown anyway. The next one is quite interesting as well, Earth Shock. We're only going to use this when we have between 5 and 7 charges of our Lightning Shield. So Lightning Shield is the shield we'll be using. As a Shaman, you can only have one shield up at a time. Basically, this is going to cause fawns or sort of, mirror back some damage to your attacker whenever they hurt you. However, yet again, we have another passive, Rolling Thunder. When you deal damage with Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning, while your Lightning Shield is active, which it always will be, you have a 60% chance to recover some mana, so that's good for mana, and also generate an additional Lightning Shield up to a maximum of 7 charges. So basically, when I'm using my Lightning Bolt, which is my filler spell, as you can see, I'm gaining charges of Lightning Shield. 3 and 4 and 5, etc., etc. Once you have between 5 and 7 charges, you want to use your Earth Shock. Now, what that will do is it will use up all of those charges and then use all of that damage accumulated onto your attacker with the Earth Shock. So we're only using Earth Shock when we have between 5 and 7 charges of Lightning Shield. The actual passive that does that part of it is Fulmination. When you have more than one Lightning Shield charge active, your Earth Shock will consume any surplus charges, instantly dealing the total of the damage to the target. Then we have Searing Totem. It's a totem we're going to use basically to do damage to our target. And if you've got nothing else to press, we're going to use Lightning Bolt. So use Elemental Blast on cooldown. Keep up your Flame Shock on the target at all times. Use Lava Burst on cooldown. Use your Earth Shock whenever you have 5 to 7 charges of Lightning Shield. Don't forget to put Lightning Shield up before you go into combat. And then we're going to keep up our Searing Totem. And that is pretty much the rotation, using Lightning Bolt as a filler. Now, if you want to go into an AoE situation for multi-target, if you have 2 targets, well, keep Flame Shock up on both of them. And then replace your Lightning Bolt with Chain Lightning. If you have 3 targets, still talking about 2 targets, you're also going to want to replace your Flame Shock with Magma Totem. So for multi-target, keep up Flame Shock on both targets. Keep up Magma Totem rather than Searing Totem, replace Lightning Bolt with Chain Lightning, and then you can also use your Thunderstorm on cooldown and your Earthquake on cooldown, but only when you have a lot of targets. And I'm talking about sort of 4, 5 or 6 or more targets. That's when you're going to start incorporating Thunderstorm and Earthquake into the mix as well. But apart from that, that's the only things we're really changing. We're still going to use our Elemental Blast on cooldown because that's giving us a massive buff to our stats as well. Regarding the cooldowns, we have Heroism or Bloodlust, of course, increasing haste by 30% for all party and raid members. You may be told by your raid leader when to use this. Stormlash Totem on a 5-minute cooldown. This is really interesting. Basically, this is going to empower your allies with lightning, and all of their attacks will trigger bursts of electricity, dealing extra nature damage to their target. So all of your party and raid will be doing more damage to their target. We have Ascendants, where you turn into an Ascendant. While in the form of a Flame Ascendant, Lava Burst has no cooldown, and Chain Lightning becomes Lava Beam. So you can see here, it's then Lava Beam instead, which is a much better AoE version of your Chain Lightning, and Lava Burst has absolutely no cooldown. If you saw that, then you say, hang on a minute, it did have a cooldown. I just literally came out of Ascendant the second I used my Lava Burst. But Lava Burst will not have a cooldown in Ascendant. You also have your Fire Elemental Totem, which basically just does a huge load of damage. You can use that on cooldown as well. And we also have Spirit Walker's Grace, where you can basically use that, and then you can actually cast your spells on the move for, how many seconds is it? 15 seconds. You can cast all your spells on the move while using Spirit Walker's Grace, which is obviously really, really good if you are in a heavy movement fight. One thing to mention as well, I didn't actually realise myself, is if you do let your lightning shield get to 7 stacks, which is the maximum, your earth shock will light up. So if you're not tracking it with a weak aura, etc., it will actually light up so that you know when to use it anyway. But I would recommend using it between 5 and 7 stacks, so do try and track it if you can. Those are the main kind of abilities you need to be aware of, but we do have a few other passives and defensives that I want to talk to you about as a elemental shaman anyway. Ancestral Guidance, Astral Shift, we got these both from our talents. Same with Call of the Elements. There is also Shamanistic Rage, which reduces all damage taken by 30% and causes your skills, totems, etc. to consume no mana at all for 15 seconds. And you can use that every single minute, so a really great defensive and also mana preservation cooldown. We do also have Elemental Focus. When you land a non-periodic critical strike with a Fire, Frost or Nature spell, you enter a clear casting state. This is going to reduce the mana cost of your next 2 damaging or healing spells by 25%, increase how much damage they do, and increase single target healing done. So basically, when you get critical strikes, you're going to be doing some extra damage and also reducing the mana cost of your next spells. We do have a few passives that we're giving everyone as well. Up here you can see Grace of Air, increasing the mastery by 3,000. Elemental Oath, spell haste increased by 5%. That's simply coming from passives like here, Elemental Oath, and this will work for your party and raid. Our mastery stat causes elemental overloads. The more mastery we have, the higher chance it has to happen. Basically, you have a chance to actually do a second cast of your spell instantly. So it shows an elemental overload can occur with lightning bolt, elemental blast, chain lightning or lava burst, causes you to trigger a second similar cast spell on the same target at no additional cost that does 75% of normal damage and no threat either. We do also have some extra totems we can use. For example, in our water totems, you do have a healing tide totem you can use on a 3-minute cooldown if you wish. Summoning a water totem, the healing tide pulses, healing everyone nearby. If you need extra healing in the raid, you can help out with this. Oh, weapon imbues. I haven't spoken about this. For an elemental shaman, you're going to be using flame tongue weapon on your weapon at all times. Wind shear is your interrupt, and you can use it every 12 seconds to interrupt your enemy spellcasting. Very useful, especially in dungeons. We also have Burning Wrath, increasing nearby party and raid members' spell power by 10% as well. We have so many passives, it's amazing. Grace of Air is increasing the mastery of nearby raid members by 3,000 as well. TLDR, it's great to have a shaman around. And don't forget we have Reincarnation. This allows you to resurrect yourself upon death with 20% health and mana. I believe it's on an hour cooldown. We also have Cleanse Spirit, meaning we can remove curses from friendly targets. We can help out the healers, etc. if needed. And we also have a Earth Elemental Totem on a 5-minute cooldown that basically works as a tank and can protect you and your allies when needed as a sort of defensive as well. Ghost Wolf, of course, is fantastic. We can go into any time. If you're using the Glyph, we can use it on water. And this is going to increase speed by 30%. Great for getting to A and B, and can be used in combat. We can also hex our enemies, incapacitating them for a minute, but it only works on humanoids and beasts. Lastly, we have Purge, removing from an enemy a beneficial magic effect. And that covers the rotation for AoE, cooldowns, etc., and all the utilities that you may be using. Moving on to the stat priorities you're going to want. Number 1, hit rating or spirit. Hit rating is your chance to miss. Obviously, we do not want to miss our target when trying to hit them. And at level 90, we need 5,100, so 5,100 hit rating to reach the spell hit cap. However, if you're a Draenei, you only need 4,760 because of the heroic presence ratio. If you're a dwarf and using a mace, you need the same amount, 4,760, because they have mace specialization. And if you're an orc using an axe, then you also only need that amount because axe specialization. If, however, you get expertise, you can also get that towards the spell hit cap, because expertise equals hit chance for spell hit chance in Mists of Pandaria Classic. So that means that we can either get expertise, hit chance, or spirit as an elemental shaman. So the passive that does it for spirit is this one here. Elemental Precision grants hit equal to any spirit gains from items or effects. So as an Elemental Shaman, just to confirm, you need 5100 hit rating, which can be gotten from spirit, expertise, or hit rating. So any of those three will work. And if you are a Draenei, you only need 4,760 hit rating. A dwarf using a mace or an orc using an axe will also need 4,760. After that then, it's going to be intellect, which is going to increase your spell power, meaning more damage, and also increase your crit chance a little bit as well. After that, we want more haste. Haste is really, really good for us because it increases the cast speed of our spells and also increases how many ticks of damage our flame shock will do. Meaning that while flame shock is up, it will do more damage over the time that it's up if we have a lot more haste. After that, it's going to be mastery, which I explained earlier. The higher the chance, the more chance you have to do an extra cast of your spell instantly, dealing 75% of damage. And lastly, it would then be crit chance. Moving on to gems and professions, etc. For the gems, you want to go for a burning primal diamond on your meta slot. Red slot, it's going to be brilliant primordial rubies, etc. You're trying to get as much intellect as you can here. Same on the yellow with reckless vermilion onyxes. If you are at the hit cap, on blue slots, then you can just go for a brilliant primordial ruby. It's generally just going to be better for you to just go for more intellect. But if you do need a hit rating, then we can go for something like a purified imperial, amethyst, etc. Sparkling rivers hearts and things like this. So it depends on what you need in the blue slot. For the enchants we've got a few on the shoulders here from Inscription, but if you are an inscriber yourself, you can get this super duper whooper one as seen here. Superior intellect on your cloak and lightweave embroidery if you're a tailor. Glorious stats on your chest. Intellect again on the wrists. You can actually get fur lining with intellect if you're a leather worker, and you can also add an extra socket if you are a blacksmith, and that goes for the hands as well. On the hands, you can get mastery, haste, expertise, which will of course help with the spell hit cap should you need it. Living steel belt buckle, everyone can add, no matter your profession. Cerulean spell thread, etc. on here. And there's master spell thread if you are a tailor. Pandaran step on your feet. If you're an enchanter, you can get greater intellect on both your rings. And then you've got Jade Spirit, Elemental Force, or Wind Song on your weapons. And you can also put major intellect if you are using an offhand or can use an offhand as a caster as well. Regarding the professions that you may want to take, tailoring gives you about 320 intellect. Blacksmithing does, jewel crafting does, alchemy, enchanting does. They all pretty much give the same amount, but leatherworking always comes through with an extra 10 intellect. Herbalism gives 480 haste as well, so not bad, but generally it doesn't matter which profession you take in Mists of Pandaria. For consumables, as a caster, I'm filming this on my mage, but it's the same for all casters, you want Potion of the Jade Serpent, increasing intellect by 4,000 for 25 seconds. You've got Flask of the Warm Sun, increasing intellect by 1,000 for an hour. And then you've also got a mana potion if you need it, called a Master Mana Potion. There's a Potion of Focus as well for casters, should they need it for their mana as well. Master Healing Potions are the healing potions, and generally going to be using a Great Pandaran Banquet to get 275 in intellect. If you're using food on your own, however, it's going to be a Mogu Fish Stew, which gives 300 intellect. There is a braised turtle, which is 275 as well, and swirling mist soup, which gives 250 intellect. But generally, the Mogu fish stew is the absolute best, with 300 intellect for all casters. And that is it, guys. That is everything you need to know about playing Elemental Shaman in Mists of Pandaria Classic. If this was helpful, then I'd hope you check out my other class guides, as you can see on the playlist you'll see on screen shortly. And if you do want to get Zygor, don't forget you can get money off with my code Javier down in the description, which is going to supercharge your journey and make it super duper easy to play and have more fun in Pandaria. Should you also want to support the channel, you could do so via Patreon, link in the description for that as well, where you can get LVI profiles and some other spreadsheets, etc., and get any help you need via the VIP Discord and the VIP channel in the Discord. And of course, like I said, support the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, etc., and have fun in MoP.